Afflictions win. Oscar has been given to so many people with diseases, it should wear a hospital gown. I mean, blind, deaf, ALS, cerebral palsy, Alzheimer's, amputee. There's nothing more automatic. Well, except if you're mentally challenged in some way. The whole thing is so Hollywood. A room full of know-nothings who call themselves the Academy, making everyone tremble before their judgment, even though their judgment is often terrible and fails the test of time. Maybe the hashtag should be Oscar's so wrong. Citizen Kane, It's a Wonderful Life, 12 Angry Men, Singing in the Rain, Dr. Strangelove, Raging Bull, Pulp Fiction, goes on and on. Not a single Best Picture among them. Brilliant, brave, groundbreaking, intellectually honest films constantly lose to much more forgettable, trifling, sentimental stuff.
This year's Oscars are over. But the controversy isn't going anywhere. One of the biggest debates? Awards going to people many insist didn't deserve them. Bill Maher didn't hold back. The comedian tore into Hollywood producers for prioritizing woke agendas over real talent. His critique was sharp, ruthless, and unapologetic. Hit subscribe, and let's break down exactly what Maher exposed, and why Hollywood might be losing its edge.
Casting directors have to stop listening to the casting police and go back to doing their job, which is picking the best actor for the role. Now, I mention this because a lot of people lately are either apologizing for or calling on others to apologize for playing roles they call appropriation. James Franco was just chosen to play Fidel Castro, and John Leguizamo posted, "No more appropriation. Boycott. That's f***ed up. I don't got a problem with Franco, but he ain't Latino." Okay, but John Leguizamo is Colombian American. He ain't a Venetian, but he played one. He ain't a French little person or an Italian plumber, but he played them too, because he's...
Take John Leguizamo. He's one of the last people who should be lecturing anyone about cultural appropriation. This actor has built a celebrated career playing characters far outside his Latino background, and was praised for it. That's what acting is. Stepping into different lives, making audiences believe it. But suddenly, the rules seem to shift depending on who's speaking. When it benefits them, it's talent and range. When it doesn't, it's a moral outrage. Audiences notice. It doesn't feel principled. It feels convenient, narrative-driven.
The hell do you think people become actors? Because they want to spend their life not being who they are. Appropriating sounds like an unforgivable sin until you remember that's what acting is. That's why acting jobs are called roles. Sean Penn won an Oscar for playing gay civil rights martyr Harvey Milk. At the time, it was considered a courageous act of solidarity for a straight male movie star to play a homosexual. Now it's the opposite. Eddie Redmayne played a transgender woman in The Danish Girl, but now calls that a mistake, because many people don't have a chair at the table. Well, actually, in movies now, they do. And what does it have to do with you playing trans? Does it then work the other way? Can trans actors only play trans?
Maher is spot on. Acting is appropriation. It's about inhabiting lives, cultures, and experiences that aren't your own, and making them believable. That's the craft. There's nothing wrong with portraying characters you have no personal connection to. Great performances are built on that. Yet now, actors are pressured to apologize for doing exactly what their job demands. Eddie Redmayne expressed regret for a transgender role.
Isn't the best acting always about making us feel our common humanity beyond separate identities? A black George Washington in Hamilton, of course. But Ryan Gosling as Frederick Douglass? Yes, that would be problematic. Ditto Shia LaBeouf as Shaft. It's...
Here's the double standard Maher calls out. When minority actors play roles traditionally written as white, little outrage. Halle Bailey as Ariel. Bridgerton's diverse aristocracy cast. Both defended as progress. Flip it. Majority actors playing minority roles? Backlash is swift and intense, to Maher's point. If identity must strictly match the role, apply it consistently. Otherwise, fairness becomes selective, Rule
The thing is so Hollywood, a room full of know-nothings who call themselves the Academy, making everyone tremble before their judgment, even though their judgment is often terrible and fails the test of time. Maybe the hashtag should be Oscar so wrong. Citizen Kane, It's a Wonderful Life, 12 Angry Men, Singing in the Rain, Dr. Strangelove, Raging Bull, Pulp Fiction, goes on and on. Not a single Best Picture among them. Brilliant, brave, groundbreaking, intellectually honest films constantly lose to much more forgettable, trifling, sentimental stuff. Saving Private Ryan lost to Shakespeare in Love. Sunset Boulevard lost to All About Eve. Glory to Driving Miss Daisy. Gangs of New York to Chicago. Munich lost to Crash. Citizen Kane lost to How Green Was My Valley.
And here's the real cost: the slow erosion of talent and truly great films. When casting is driven by rigid cultural rules instead of skill, range, and storytelling, quality suffers. Audiences notice weak scripts, forced choices, and performances that don't land. Recent Disney and Warner Brothers releases show it.
We just go by merit and let the best actor win, which seems like what happened when Ana de Armas just got picked to play Marilyn Monroe, even though she's Cuban with an accent. Hey, maybe she should play Fidel Castro and James Franco can play Marilyn Monroe, and then we can all stay in our lanes. Is that what diversity and inclusion look like now? Everybody's staying in their lane? Lawrence of Arabia was gay. Peter O'Toole wasn't. I can live with that. Because he was so cool, he almost made me gay.
And what does the so-called woke crowd actually want? On one hand, diversity, inclusion, equality. On the other, strict rules about who can portray certain roles. Those goals don't always align. Bridgerton praised for diverse casting. Ghost in the Shell criticized heavily. The standard shifts with narrative and direction, not principle. If equality is the goal, rules need consistency. Otherwise,
Stone caught hell for playing a Hawaiian, Jake Gyllenhaal for playing a Persian, Gal Gadot for wanting to play Cleopatra, Johnny Depp for playing an Indian, even though he's not an actual Comanche, and spoiler alert, he also doesn't really have scissor hands. And he's not actually a drunken pirate. Okay, bad example. Tom Hanks now says that if Philadelphia were made today, he wouldn't do it because the character was gay and he's not. Well, besides the fact that this would force all gay actors to reveal their sexuality, even if they didn't want to, great actors, which Tom is one, try hard to keep their private lives private so we don't think of their real lives when we see them in a movie that attempts to transport us into a different world. Could you really look at this actress now and not think of the trial? Should she only play bedshetters now?
there's also the illusion factor. Acting works because audiences forget the actor and believe the character. Think Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. You're locked into the story, not his personal life. When actors broadcast personal beliefs or contradict their roles, the illusion breaks. Performances feel artificial. Viewers sense it.
What's Daniel Day-Lewis really like? I haven't a clue, which is why he's so great. Because when he plays Lincoln, I only see Lincoln. I don't think, well, there's a British heterosexual. But Hanks says, I don't think people would accept the inauthenticity of a straight guy playing a gay guy because, quote, we're beyond that now. Don't get him started on bosom buddies.
Acting is all-encompassing. It requires range, imagination, and stepping into lives nothing like your own. Professional actors should be able to take any role, regardless of identity. Choice is fine, but turning identity into a requirement, that narrows storytelling instead of expanding it. Acting isn't about mirroring reality. It's about interpreting, challenging, and sometimes transcending it.
Lost to Chariots of Fire. Shawshank Redemption lost to Forrest Gump. Some of the most iconic directors of all time. Hitchcock, Kubrick, Tarantino, Kurosawa, Bergman, Fellini, Rob Reiner have 0 wins for Best Director. The Oscars should give out a new award, the Kanye West I'ma Let You Finish Award. Yeah. Just put Kanye in the audience every year to jump up and say, I'm gonna let you finish, but Shawshank is one of the greatest movies of all time.
Critics say Hollywood's pandering to the fringe left is hurting the industry. Instead of focusing on storytelling and standout performances, studios chase messaging and narratives. Films beloved by audiences sometimes lose awards to movies that don't measure up in quality. That disconnect fuels frustration. Fans want compelling stories and performances, not politically calculated decisions. Hollywood has always been capable of brilliance, but if external pressures outweigh talent, it risks losing.
Acting awards? No better. They're constantly giving out the make up for a snub Oscar when an actor gets one because the Academy stepped on its the first 10 times the guy should have won. Al Pacino in The Godfather, Godfather 2, Serpico, Scarface, Dog Day Afternoon. I could go on. Crickets. Then he plays a blind guy who screams, hoo-ha, and welcome to the winner's circle. It's like honoring Michael Jordan for when he played baseball.
It increasingly feels that awards and recognition are dictated by cultural trends, not craft. Roles tied to identity gain prestige if they check the right boxes, even if the performance is weak. Films like The Danish Girl spark debates more about identity than skill. When optics outweigh talent, skepticism grows. Great acting stands on its own, convincing, powerful, and memorable, not pre-validated by the type of role being played.
Elections win. Oscar has been given to so many people with diseases, it should wear a hospital gown. I mean, blind, deaf, ALS, cerebral palsy, Alzheimer's, amputee. There's nothing more automatic, well, except if you're mentally challenged in some way. In Hollywood, never say the R word, but if you play it in a movie, they will give you a trophy.
Hollywood's obsession with appeasing woke expectations is reshaping the industry. Talent and storytelling are overshadowed by roles designed to signal virtue. When awards reward identity over performance, audiences notice, and the magic of cinema suffers. Acting is about transformation, range, and immersion, not box-checking. Keep going down this path, and we risk losing both artistry and unforgettable films, leaving audiences with forgettable movies and compromised talent. So hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. The debate isn't over, and neither are the stakes.